Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole,
And my name's Brittany.
and this is the 11-Minute Mile, episode 37. We also have Lincoln on the podcast today, so if you hear any baby noises, that is coming from him, not us.
The grunting in the background.
Yeah, little grunts.
Yeah.
So just gonna kind of like chat about entering the group fitness world. I feel like people who are just starting off their fitness journey are really scared sometimes to take a group fitness class, whether it's yoga, CrossFit, berries. Like people are just nervous to enter the space, wouldn't you say?
I feel like it's the intimidation
Mm-hmm.
of being seen in your most vulnerable state. Because, like,
Yeah.
most people, when you go into fitness, are not the best.
Yeah.
So, just feeling like you're not the best at something or not good at something, I feel like it can feel intimidating. And that's just after teaching so many years, you realize people are a little bit more insecure, where we like take it for granted how easy it is for us to just go and take a class.
For sure. Because the norm is like not, you can't simply be the best the first time that you walk in the studio. Like you have to work really hard to get there.
Exactly.
But I think that there's a way to explore certain studios and certain modalities to know what's right for you and
Hmm.
your body,
Hmm.
right? Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, I
Like,
think just figuring out, you're saying like figure out what you like first before going
yeah,
into the class, or
what to trial first. Because, for
hmm.
instance, me and Chris are two totally different workout people. He loves to lift. He's a male. He has more like muscle mass than me. And I obviously really like Pilates, and that's my go to. But if we were two people just starting off, like I'm curious how we would find the right first studio for us to trial kind of thing.
Together or each.
Like each separately.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if we were, you know what I mean? Like how you navigate that.
Yeah. And I think coming from a like athletic and fitness background, like gymnastics, you're going to be more inclined to like rhythm, like music. Your
Mm-hmm.
musicality is going to be a lot better than some other people. And sometimes like the musicality is what's scary to people, because people are like, I don't have that rhythm. So
Yeah.
like taking a bar class is terrifying, because it's like
Mhm.
it's all like
Yeah.
music based, and it's like a step class. It's like if you're brand new to step and you haven't ever taken a step class and you're behind, it's like everybody can see it. Not that everybody cares, because by no means do people notice, but I've
Yeah.
I've been that person that's like off, and you're like, oh my gosh, oops.
Oh, well, me in like a dancing class or bar, that is definitely not my thing. I mean, it's hard and it's a great class, but that is just not for me. I'm not good at it. But I would say it's really important to do a lot of research, especially for your own just self to feel really successful after you leave the class and look at like, does the studio offer different levels? Do they offer a beginner class? And I think that it's really important to tell yourself that it is okay to take a beginner class and you don't just need to like jump in to the regular, you know,
Hmm. Yeah, and I think
baseline class because the thing is you want to feel successful.
absolutely, and I think that is a humongous thing that everybody needs to remember, is that the beginner classes are meant for beginners. Like you
Yes.
should take, and that's the one thing that I really liked about CrossFit is they at Solace back
Mhm.
100 years ago, they used to make you take a foundations class. So like you were
Just
required to
grace.
take that
Great.
like 3-hour class that taught you all the movements. So that way when you did get into a class setting, the teacher didn't was able to like use time more efficiently, and they didn't have to like take the time to teach you every single thing. And I mean, I'm sure like Pilates is the exact same when you're on the reformer, like
We have an
anytime you're
essentials
using,
class. Yeah. And I
yeah.
think it's really important just because there are so many moving parts in the class and so many things that you need to be listening for. You can get hurt really easily if you're not paying attention. And like it takes about 10 classes to really get the hang of it. And that should not make you feel defeated by any means
Mhm.
because you're obviously coming to a class to feel challenged. And if it's not hard, you wouldn't continue coming, you know?
Right,
Like you
right.
want to work towards a goal or work towards something. But I don't think people should be afraid to take those beginner classes multiple times too. Get the hang of
Yeah.
it. feel successful, and then kind of like move on to the next level sort of thing.
Mhm.
And it's good too to try like lots of different instructors. Not every instructor is going to be for you. Like it doesn't
Mhm.
matter if you're a brilliant instructor, you might not be everyone's cup of tea kind of thing.
Right, and
Like,
that's totally fine.
yeah.
And I also feel like another thing that you can do when you are starting in the fitness world is bringing a friend so you feel a little bit more secure, you feel a little bit less alone. And I
Mhm.
would also recommend asking the teacher where you should go in class, like in the room, if you're a beginner, because there's so many times that, like, if you're new to yoga, you should not go in the front row. Like, you
Yeah,
should
of
go in the
course.
middle back so you can like kind of watch what other people are doing. Or if you're in a step class, like being right
Mhm.
behind the instructor to the right in the back, like so you can see. I see so many times, like if you're running late or something, the newest person ends up in like the worst spot. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, it's like not helping them if they're in the wrong space in the actual
Yeah.
classroom.
It's funny that you say that because at SLT, like if you're on the ends of the, the ends of the room, like whether on the
Hmm.
first machine or last machine, that actually like is harder if you're a first time client to be at the ends and people think that you want to be at the ends when you're first time. But
Hmm.
anytime I have people that are first timers or like kind of fresh to the space, I always try and move them around with making them feel, like, positive about it, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
first time, I wanna make you feel really comfortable. Are you okay if I scoot you to the middle? Because you'll have people on either side of you just in case we,
Hmm.
like, turn to one side of the room and you don't know what's happening, and,
Yeah.
that's really important. I always said too, I think it would be really smart for studios to set up, like, almost a quiz for new clients on their website. So you can kind of give like your level of experience if you have injuries, and then it can break down like what class you should be taking, sort of thing.
Oh yeah, that's a
Or
great
even if
idea.
ClassPass did it, where they sort of put in, um, you put in like your age, any injuries, how experienced you are, like what your level is in the fitness community. And then it can kind of filter out good classes for you or like studios that would be good as like for a first timer.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I think
Nobody steal that
also,
on here.
yeah.
That should be our new
I
thing.
also I also think making the injury list kind of a write out type of thing, because so many times, I mean, every class I ask if you have injuries, and a lot of times people don't want to be like raise their hand, hi, yeah, I have an injury. This is like nobody wants to really like discuss it. And if you do have injuries, you really absolutely should go up to the teacher before class begins and discuss it with them if you're
Yeah.
concerned and you need help modifying. But I know a lot of people who just are a little bit intimidated to even like talk to the instructor, and that's
Yeah.
fine. But as long as you know how to modify properly, because I mean, for me specifically as a teacher, like if people are modifying and they look like they are comfortable modifying and they know what they're doing, I will never come up to you and say, no, don't
Yeah.
do that. It's
Totally.
funny because as now postpartum, like I'm spoken to a few friends who have like gone to a class who started to modify stuff, and the teachers come up to them and be like, why are you modifying? You're
Yeah.
fine. And it's like, no, I'm not fine. I had a baby 6 weeks ago. Like, leave me alone. But like, to the teacher's point, like they didn't know because
Yeah.
you didn't tell them. And then also to the person's point, like if they were doing it properly, then they should have
For
been
sure.
fine. So yeah, just one of
It's
those things.
also it also would be really smart for studios, like, if you have a pregnant client coming or pre and post, like, if there was a pamphlet that they give out just so you kinda know what you shouldn't and should be doing, because as much as the instructor can tell you in the beginning of class what you shouldn't and should be doing and what's safe and what's not safe, throughout the class, like, you're that's easily forgotten. Like, as a
Hmm.
client, like, you're in the middle of a class, you're listening to the instructor, people are around you, it's easy to forget, like, what's safe to do and what's not safe, and
Hmm.
also, sometimes the instructor can't give you every single modification sort of thing, so I do think it would be
Right.
really smart for studios to have, like, a pamphlet, just a small thing of, like, "Hey,
Hmm.
this is what you can do in your 3rd trimester,"
For
or
like the basic stuff.
just
Yeah.
basics, like, not a
Yeah.
full breakdown of it, but just so visually, like, I'm such a visual person, And if
Mhm.
I were pregnant and I saw it in front of me, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. Rather than the instructor being like, well, you can't twist, you can't do this at the back of the machine. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
think
Yeah, and
it
I feel like with
visually would be
Pilates
nice.
too, that would be super helpful, but,
Yeah.
I mean, after being pregnant and, like, taking all the courses to, like, learn how to navigate that whole
Mhm.
process, this is, like, a whole 'nother story, but it's so different person to person, so, like,
Totally.
even that, like, totally depending on your fitness level, it
Oh,
can, like,
yeah.
change so drastically, but
Absolutely.
this is a whole 'nother conversation.
Yeah.
Working
No, it
out
is.
pre and post.
I think like pre and postnatal fitness is so it's so interesting and so important to know as an instructor, but also you're forever learning because it's like this person is carrying a baby inside of them. Like you as
Mhm,
an instructor, you want to feel like 100%
mhm. Yeah, and
confident that,
instructors are so naive to the whole topic. Like,
mhm.
after doing it and after learning about it, it's like, as an instructor, I was nervous because I was like, I don't know what they can do, and then after being pregnant, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, you can kind of do
'Cause you went
this."
through it.
Like, yeah, but whole other topic. That'll
Oh
be our
yeah.
next episode.
But the course that I took through, you took it too, the pronatal fitness.
Mhm.
I thought that that was great.
Yeah.
Like it was helpful.
Yeah, I think there could be more information for, I think also when you go through it and experience it, you can explain it a little bit better. You have a
Yeah,
little bit better understanding.
absolutely.
But I feel
But not
like,
every instructor is gonna be pregnant or have a baby, so
yeah, but I
it's a
feel like
good
in
course
definitely.
for, like, someone who needs to know those
Yeah.
things a little bit, like, deeper than the training you're gonna get just, like, at your studio kinda thing.
Yeah. And I feel like it should be required at
Mhm.
every studio because
Yeah, I'm glad I took it.
I've never had it as a requirement to any of the studios that I teach at, and it absolutely should be.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. That
But
was good. We'll see
yeah,
you for next episode, everyone.
next episode we'll talk more.
See you later.
Bye.